A little bit of a rocky patch, though, you know. They were the Season 1 champions from DreamHack, and then they kind of just faded out a little bit, but now they are returning in strong form. I just gotta say, though, it's a little unfortunate there for Reckless, because coming into Season 3, he would not be able to participate.
Yeah, it's a little disheartening knowing that there is that age restriction. So when you find out, Reckless, that he's 16, is he 16? Is he 15?
He's
either
underage.
way,
How's that?
Yeah, he's just not old enough, and he's not going to be, at least until halfway through the season. So it's a little disheartening, but that does kind of open up the other end of it. What is Fnatic Raid Call gonna do for an AD carry? I mean, could we see something a little bit different, a little bit better?
Well, we might be privileged enough to see that today. Of course, their opponents, Copenhagen Wolves. Some people saying in the chat they don't actually know who these guys are. Others, very, very much aware of who the Wolves are. I gotta say, I've been following the Sense Karen ever since he got kicked off of Team SK. Seriously, best Lee Sin. Well, maybe not anymore because of Froggen, but best Lee Sin world back in the day. But, Copenhagen Wolves there at the DreamHack Winter 2012 as well. They did get themselves 4th place or 3rd place against COG EU. So, both of these teams, pretty decent standings as of the last few tournaments, and we're going to get all the bans out of the way. Who do we got here in Sigma?
Alright, so it looked like Fnatic banned out a total of Twisted Fate, Lulu, Rengar, pretty standard bans from that. Twisted Fate, obviously a very, very strong, just in general, both support and entire support carry, but on the line, I mean, he's really, really good. When it comes down to it, Lulu, that looks like a target ban specifically. I mean, obviously Lulu is a very, very strong support, but knowing Wolves, Lulu is actually really good. And then over on the Wolves side, we have Vayne, Blitzcrank, and Katarina. Obviously, the Vayne and Blitzcrank are a complete target ban versus N-Rated and Reckless. That combo that they had was just so deadly. And then the Katarina, specifically for Xpeki, is a very, very strong pick.
Man, no Katarina today. I'm a little saddened about that, but we do got some of those first picks coming out. It looks like Zyra is going to be first up here for Fnatic. Now, support Zyra has been now becoming a thing, but at the same time, could see her go mid. And man, we were just talking about this, how you were saying that Elise in this new Season 3 patch that we are playing on, has a little bit of a tendency of being a bit broken, but Fnatic Soaz might be running that Lee Sin. Oh man, we're in for such a treat today.
Whew. Yeah, I have to say, and a lot of people don't kind of seem to be picking up on this, and it could just be me, but in general, Elise just feels really, really just, I almost want to say overpowered, and a lot of people that main Elise have been telling me too, she's so good. Between the total of percentage of health damage that her Q does in both forms, and there's no mana in her ultimate, it's just a very, very strong kit. Yeah, the Lee Sin most likely is going to be a top lane, but when they did switch out the Mundo for Diana, which was, I'm actually a little bit surprised Diana was left open that long. When they switch out Mundo for Diana, we could see Lee Sin jungle as of yet, but it's pretty clear that it's going to be a Diana mid with the support Zyra. I mean, of course, Diana could still go top. We have seen that in the past, but assuming that things are going the way they have been going, I would have to say that it's most likely going to be a Diana mid with how strong she is.
Yeah, a lot of changes have come down to how the different lanes play out. So yeah, Diana mid, I'm all for it. Looking at a LeBlanc to counter out Diana, however, Svenskar going to be picking that one up for the Wolves. And at the same time, we have now locked in a Sona and Ezreal lane, very long-range aggression, so maybe they're going to be trying to outrange just the damage that support Zyra can bring out, because she is one of the more heavy-hitting supports in that bottom lane. Throw people down with the roots and get those plants going, and all of a sudden it's just like half your health bar is missing.
Yeah, Zyra actually, a lot of times when you see her be built, when it comes to runes and masteries and support lane, you'll actually see her end up being built like an AP carry. That burst she has plus her really long range is it's huge. I believe it's actually longer than Sona when it comes down to it. So it looks like Fnatic with the pickup of Olaf and Caitlyn, their bot lane is going to have just a wee bit more poke when it comes down to it. But, I mean, with the Wolves having both Ezreal and Sona, it's going to be a very back and forth lane, just from looking at the picks. Olaf and Lee Sin, yeah, definitely. They could still either they really could switch out. Olaf looking to be a stronger laner these days with his base the base stats that he has plus the ratios that he has. He's just a really strong lane, but he could definitely go in the jungle. So that one's going to come down to which they switch out at the last second. The LeBlanc pick. Originally it kind of throws me for a loop. I mean, LeBlanc does do very strong against Diana, but it kind of goes the both way. It's really going to be a skill matchup. And then with that last with that last pick of the Malphite, definitely I got to say, just from looking at the teams, it's a pretty even team. No team has a very clear advantage when it comes to picks. I'm really looking forward to this game.
All right, so don't really know what that was about, but apparently something went wrong somewhere. So now we're gonna have the joke bands come out. But we did see the team compositions now completed. I'm very curious because Reckless, he's gonna be playing that Caitlyn bottom lane, and ever since the new patch, I have seen more of a resurgence of Caitlyn simply because of Static Shiv. It can just really start bringing out a lot of just hidden. Oh, are they gonna do TSM? TSM. They are gonna do TSM, but unfortunately the Wolves CP something, I don't know, CPH.
Is there a W? Is there? Oh, Copenhagen Wolves. Look at that.
Copenhagen. Okay, well, fair enough. Either way, Caitlyn Season 3 with the Static Shiv, and now that Phantom Dancer does ignore unit collision, I have been seeing more of a rise of Caitlyn. And, Caitlyn doesn't quite have that, attack steroid in that late game, but it seems to be something that Static Shiv, replacing that Ionic Spark, seems to be bringing more and more of. So I'm very interested to see what Reckless is actually going to build out of this, and it does look like, Soaz will be on that Lee Sin.
Even when it comes down to it, we're seeing a lot more of that Runon's Hurricane too. That goes really well on Caitlyn, being able to stack those headshots very quickly.
That's just a blanket AD carry must have these days. My goodness.
It's so good.
It's just I was reading a Leaguecraft guide about Kayle, the Angel of Death. When she goes Reckless Fire and she has a Hurricane, 3 AoE fire pits. Just think of that. Just think of that for a moment.
Oof, that's so much AoE. You know what? I actually have to ask, because I know like GP's Parlay, it works with the Tiamat, or the new
Tiamat's melee only now, though.
Yeah, but his Parlay works for it. Does Kayle's E work for it?
For Tiamat?
Yeah. Does it count as a ranged spell?
All about that Hurricane, man. All about that Hurricane.
Oh, that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah. The Hurricane, Runan's Hurricane, like, best item Season 3. Actually, no, I'm going to take that back. The Sightstone now with Season 3. Best item Season 3. It's just wards everywhere. It's literally chickenpox on the minimap.
It really is. And I was talking to a couple of people about it. Like, from a jungler standpoint, every time I see that Sightstone, something just drops in the middle of my stomach. I'm just like, you know what? That lane is now pretty much ungankable. I mean, even with that 5-minute oracles, and you could get a pink ward to go against that, but that whole idea of free wards for a lane, it kind of sits in the back of your mind. Man, I gotta farm more.
Wow. So I'm taking a quick look here at the runes and masteries of Fnatic. Reckless running with just a little bit under 1% crit chance. So maybe banking on a 1% early game crit to kind of turn the tides. But armor, physical damage, magic resist, and magic regen on top of things. In terms of his masteries, wow, the servers are being extremely slow this morning. Mastery is 22, 3, and 5. So pretty much just everything attack damage. He's just pure offense. Tough skin on top of things as well, and a little bit of mana regen. So he's not looking to go in that bottom lane. I want to take a quick look here at Fnatic Cyanide. His runes and masteries, armor, magic resist, and the physical damage helps him clear that jungle just that much quicker. Masteries. ... Triple
I would kind of have to point something out. I mean, last I heard, tough skin, the reduces damage taken from monsters. Last I heard, that doesn't actually affect lane minions.
Nope, monsters are not minions. Minions
That's right.
are not monsters. Bladed armor, however, minion or monster. You can check that out. And it's a 0.219 there for Olaf, so not really too surprising, going right down to the runic affinity. Not a problem. So, yeah, there you go, 1% crit for Reckless. Now, on the other opposite side, I mean, we did have that Malphite come out. Looks like he will be at that top, and the Mundo in the mid. I'm assuming it's going to be Elise mid, but actually, now that I think about it, it could be a Malphite mid.
It could very well be. I mean,
Wait,
Elise...
didn't we have LeBlanc earlier?
That's a very good question. Didn't we? Yeah, because I thought we did. Maybe that's what the
that's why we
reset was
remade,
about.
right?
Yeah,
because
it wasn't actually meant to be.
That's a Mundo. Got it.
Okay, that makes more sense, because that's why I was originally a little bit confused. Yeah, that makes more sense now. It could very well still be an Elise top lane with a Malphite mid. I mean, there is always that option. I gotta say, I would assume Elise would go mid, but the fact that she doesn't really need strictly ability power, and she goes from cooldown reduction and magic pen. I mean, she's a very, very good top lane pick. But that Malphite would just work really well against the Lee Sin, so that would kind of make more sense to me when it comes down to it. But you know what? We could always see another lane swap of a Malphite 1v2 lane. We could see, at least not even go mid. We could see a 2v1 mid. It could just be anything when it comes down to it.
It could, and that is why we're going to start up the game here, ladies and gentlemen. So once again, apologies for the delays, but Fnatic in the house in Masan. I am terrible at pronouncing Europe, but I'm hoping that's the right place, in Stockholm, up against the Copenhagen Wolves, and this will be the best of one round robin first game of the day for the Thor Open. And look at that, already in, ready to go. Load up that scoreboard, and brilliant. Team Blue here, Team Fnatic. Reckless not actually having that Fnatic take, but that's okay. Everyone else going to be starting off. And Team Red, your Wolves. Give it up, guys. Place your bets. Who is going to take this best of one?
Something I kind of want to point out a lot. If we just look at the items on Fnatic's side, look at how many people have bought wards and added that crystalline flask.
Yep. That crystalline flask is just so popular these days.
We've completely moved away from the everyone has to start boots and potions. Even supports even started boots and potions. This is almost a completely different game when we really think about it.
If you really think about it, yeah. I mean, the game is in a state right now where you can actually start with a full inventory, level 1. The Total Biscuit of Rejuvenation, the Explorer Wards, the extra gold that you get just from starting with those utility masteries can afford you these crystalline flasks, can afford you extra potions, extra wards. And yeah, we do have a lot of vision, including a pink ward here on and rated, that Zyra. So you saw Fnatic here. They're trying to put up a little bit of vision. In fact, I don't sure they actually got any of those wards down, but we did have a ward in the bush here from the Wolves, and it saw them come in, thus defeating the level 1 invade.
Yeah. To be straight up though, that's so much vision. I mean, I know I keep pointing that out, but that's going to be an extremely safe, not even just a bottom lane, but the entire team is just going to be extremely safe. Looking down at it, looks like Fnatic starting off with that double golem. With their bot lane. So it's a pretty standard setup so far. Yeah, it looks like Malphite would be going to top. They're kind of tossing that one back and forth. Yeah, with the jungle being so much tankier, it's really a risk now for bottom lane to actually take the double golems.
It did not look like it went over that smooth. I mean, they're extremely late to lane. We already got the Wolves pretty much just, getting their experience and just pushing up. Reckless, he did use that potion, but that, again, is why you have those crystalline flasks. A lot of damage coming down onto Reckless right there. A little bit of harass from Sona. And once again, like, the Ezreal and the Sona lane gel so nicely in terms of just that long-range harass. And that is... I really do think that is really in a response to N-Rated picking up that Zyra, and I think Reckless might have been maybe a bit more pigeonholed into going into that longer range AD carry just to kind of compensate for that, and that's why he has Kakeda.
Yeah, that would make a lot of sense, especially since he couldn't have Vayne. But mid lane, we do have Xpeke getting dived down on top of Mundo. And Elise taking quite a bit of damage. Xpeke had you burn a flash to get out of this one. So that did look like a successful gank.
Yeah, but
when it came down to it.
Svenskeren, I think, is going to get red out here. Cyanide waiting for him. Oh, but they do have that ward. They know he's there, but he didn't hit there with the cleaver, and that is going to be enough of a bait for Cyanide to get in there, forcing out the flash from Sens, and the axe grabs the first blood there for Cyanide and refreshes both of those buffs in the mid. Now, Jurgensen here didn't really respond to that, and he kind of just kept farming, so that is going to be a big loss for the Wolves.
Yeah, having a Mundo lose both of those buffs really early. I mean, between the mana buff and the red for the slow and the damage, I mean, it's not really huge, but it's really going to put Mundo pretty far behind. So he's going to have to actually kind of decide whether or not he wants to just straight up farm and try to outfarm his opponent at this point, or go all out and try to make that up in kills. So that's going to be an interesting choice here. Godbro and Soaz actually kind of duking it out back and forth, just trading it as much as they can. Xpeke in mid, up against Bjergsen. Both of them trying to trade back and forth, and both of them actually get taken out by each other.
Gotta love killing each other there in the mid. N-Rated looking to make that power play bottom lane against the Tess, but unfortunately has to use that flash to get out of dodge. Does have Ignite. Something to note here, we are running the Ignite on the bottom lane, and we're running Cleanse on Reckless. Now, in response to that, I mean, XL winner here on the Wolves. That Sona is going that more typical exhaust, but we, as you saw, that Flash Ignite looking for that kill on top of Ezreal, but in fact, not going to be grabbing it. Reckless still just really trying to push the Tess out of lane, and in fact, is going to be taking a little bit of a creep lead in front of this. So, kills on the board, 2-1 right now. Fnatic is doing some work here early game, and now again, every member of Fnatic has wards right now.
Yeah, with all of that vision, Mundo kind of has to farm to try to get himself back into this game. But it looks like Cyanide wanting to set up for a tower dive here. Mundo throwing that cleaver into the bush, so they both do know of that happening.
Oh, I think it's going to be happening. Cyanide just really trying to figure out what he wants to do. Eats another cleaver on top of things. A little bit of poke coming down on top of Winner as well. And the reason they want to do this is because they know that Ezreal had to go back to town. He was just so low. And that, in fact, might have been the whole target here, just to see if they could punish him even further. But now he is about 9 creeps behind. But because he has gone back to town, he's picked up himself the new Vampiric Scepter. So not exactly a cheap purchase, but now it also does give 10 attack damage on top of the lifesteal.
With the nerf to boots, I mean, we're seeing a lot of people not actually buy boots. Even level 1 boots can take quite a while to get to, and they don't actually do that much. Xpeke right now, getting set up onto from a gank of Mundo, turning around from Cyanide. Cyanide throwing that Ragnarok down, and gets taken out.
Boom.
Wow. That these trades have been going back and forth. I mean, no lane is really being passive at this point. Top has been just trading constantly. Lee Sin is ahead by 29 CS. Mid lane has been set up on ganks both back and forth. This game is action-packed.
Action-packed. Yeah, 3-1. We're only 6.5 minutes into the game, but you can already see the gold lead coming out here from Fnatic, looking at about 1,500, just a little under 1,500 gold. But the rate that we're CSing here on top of Fnatic, as you said, 20 creeps ahead in that top lane. Bot lane has kind of come back out to parity, but we're 2 kills up for Diana. I mean, the farm is starting to really just hit home. At the same time, it does look like Reckless did head home, and he's not looking for a Vampiric at all. He has those double Dorans, and the new passive on the Dorn's blades restores 5 health each time. They do stack. Those are not unique whatsoever, so I do kind of like the new spin on the sustain early metagame with those Dorans. I mean, it's not percentage, it's just flat, which means it's as good as it's ever going to get.
Yeah, that change from the Doran specifically, that really changed the whole way that bottom lane now trades. It's no longer about, you know, who can keep up the damage. It's more or less who can keep away from it at this point. It doesn't sound like it kind of changes, but when you get down to the dynamic of it, it's a lot different.
I kind of... this is something I haven't quite seen yet, but we have Ninja Tabby on Soaz with Home Guard. So, does he have a teleport? He does have teleport. Oh my goodness, I saw this on Reddit the other day. The Malphite Home Guard teleport trick. When you're in town, you have Home Guard buff, and when you teleport, you get a 200% speed boost that decays. But enough about that. Svenskeren drops to Xpeke. Unfortunately, did not get the blue buff. That did go to Jergson there. But, you know, a really great raid. And again, those wards, that ward right there was enough to get them that kill. Down south again, coming in for that gank. Winner, going to be dropping. No ace in the hole, but there goes the True Shot Barrage. Not really going to be making too much of a difference as the test is going to be dropping once again. So bottom lane is the place to be for Fnatic as they take a 6-1 lead early game.
Those, I gotta point out, those traps were in optimal placement. Those traps alone completely controlled the flow of that fight. I mean, when you saw it back to it, Ezreal kind of, he couldn't go anywhere, especially Sona. She couldn't go anywhere without getting stunned and locked between both the Caitlyn trap, the Zyra root, and then on top of that, you do have the Diana, that you know, area of effect pull in.
The moonfall?
Yeah. It's just... There's so much control going out of Fnatic. It's this 3,000 or the 2,400 gold lead. It really makes a lot of sense as to why they're getting that lead. I mean, not just from the farm standpoint and the kills standpoint, but just the way that their lanes have been controlled alone makes a lot of sense.
Xpeke picking up both blue and red, is using that crystalline flask, is going to get himself a little bit here of CS as Cyanide is going to be holding down the mid, but 3 of the 4 buffs right now being controlled by Fnatic. No Dragon attempts quite yet here, about to hit the 10-minute mark, but other things to note is just look at some of the item pickups that we have. We got that Home Guard trick that's going to be coming out of Fnatic Soaz in the top lane. The Spirit Stones coming out for our junglers. I mean, we really are trying to make use of some of these new items, and bot lane, you know, what do we see first on Zyra? A Cage's lucky pick.
Yeah, Zyra coming out, you want a lot of ability power. You need that burst, but it looks like mid lane right now. Bjergsen getting dived onto by Xpeke and Cyanide, turning it around, taking Diana out, Cyanide finishing it off right behind it.
Yeah, so as you know, as you said, top lane has been fairly quiet, but they have been trading back and forth. We're still up about 20 CS for Soaz. Really kind of wondering when he's going to show us that neat teleport trick, but he does have to go home if he wants that home guard bonus. And right now he is going to be just really punishing this Malphite around. But Malphite, you know, top lane, he does have that Dorn Shield and a Giant Spell. So I'm curious to see if we're going to see a Sunfire from him. But the thing I wanted to point out for Zyra is that she has the Cage's lucky pick. We don't see Philosopher's Stones anywhere on this map, and that would have not nearly been the case, you know, a month ago.
No, definitely not. I mean, we did start to see everyone migrate towards getting your Heart of Gold first. Even if you get the components of a Philosopher's Stone, the Heart of Gold just, it kind of made a lot of sense to build first, getting that health, but you would never see a support not get a Philo Stone. With that ambient gold increase, it's actually making a lot more sense for supports to start to get their items quicker, and the Cage's lucky pick just falls directly into that. Not to mention the last breath item, or that the ice shard item that gives you that gold pretend increase permanently. But the ability power that's going to come out from Zyra specifically burst things down it's huge.
We're looking for that engaged bottom lane. Crescendo coming out, not actually going to grab anyone. Really good counterplay from Zyra. We're desperately trying to hold on to this bottom tower. It has been chipped away down to 91 hit points. Reckless doing some amazing work down here with N-rated. 107 creeps to the 93 and a kill and an assist above counterpart there to the Ezreal. And Ezreal has a pickaxe first. Usually we would see more of a Trinity Force build, something with a phage, but we're not seeing any of that today.
No, I think Ezreal at this point is just kind of like, I need damage. I need something consensual to this lane that he really just needs, so that when he went back to the shop, you know what? The first thing I can buy is a pickaxe. I gotta get myself back into this. And it's honestly, it's not a terribly bad idea. Wolves' test getting kind of engaged on, had a root there, but Reckless wasn't close enough, But yeah, that bottom turret, anybody just breathes and that thing falls down.
Boom. The big bad wolf blew your house down. Yeah, top lane, however, Soaz getting 2v1, and this is going to be only great for Fnatic, because it looks like he's going to be okay for now. Out goes that Dragon Kick. Did not hit knee Godbro, but we are kind of running a bit low on mana, and yeah, he will be able to walk out of this one. But because it was 2 versus 1 top lane, that means the Dragon did die for Fnatic. So not only are they taking the first tower, they're also adding a lot of global gold on top of that with that Dragon. Should see the next one around the 19-20 minute mark, and it's just kind of snowballing at this point. We're about 13.5 minutes in, 5k up for Fnatic. I don't want to say the game's over, but it's looking to be a little bit of a tough road ahead here for the Wolves.
Yeah, Fnatic is actually doing something really specific. They're not going for any really huge lead at any point in time. They're noticing, hey, we can get this safely, or hey, we can get that kill safely, or we can get that dragon safely. And they're just stacking small advantages on top of everything. Because when it comes down to it, I mean, the teams are very close. I mean, even with that 5,000 gold lead, they're still not so far ahead that a team fight is immediately going to go in their favor. So Fnatic is playing this one extremely well when it comes down to just this poke and stay safe game. Xpeke right now, engaging onto Bjergsen. Bjergsen volleying up into the air. He flashes back out, but a Crescent Strike finishes off under the turret. That was fantastic.
That was well
say
played.
So myself.
A little bit of a support clash in the jungle, looking for that Stranglethorns. Is going to get Zyra, going to go for the kill, but N-rated does drop. Ace in the hole, however, will be able to finish it off, and the Zyra passive able to land some damage here on top of the Tess, and he does drop to, was that the teleport gank? Yeah, that was the teleport gank. Soaz coming in on top of that one. Maybe going to look for the Sonic Wave on top of Sven's, but at the same time, just going to be taking those Wolves. So now we do got Cyanide here with the Oracles, and Oracles did get a little bit of a nerf in terms of Season 3. It does now have a set duration on it. You can't exactly have it the whole game, but either way, does not notice any wards. In fact, the only person with wards in the inventory right now is Mundo. Not even our support, but we do got the Ruby Sightstone now finished off for just Sona, actually not Zyra. Zyra not even close to one, although she does have the Philo now.
Yeah, at this point, it's a good idea to get that Philo. She could even build into Eliza's Miracle and it'd still be worth it. But it looks like right now, Fnatic trying to engage on something mid lane. The Test starting to get caught out. Reckless and Soaz doing a ton of damage. Finishes him off. And just continuing to push the mid lane. Meanwhile, we have Godbro right now just pushing top. Soaz just sitting down in the front. Bjergsen almost getting taken out. Diana ulting in. Sona gets taken out as well, and Mundo getting cleaned up underneath that turret. Every time we get closer to just one of those very little advantages, I mean, you can clearly see it come up onto the map. Fnatic is just taking such a strong lead as it is.
Oh! The true shot.
Coming down and finishing off Diana. That one almost hit. That would almost take out Cyanide and N-rated too.
Aw, poor Soaz. He didn't get that home guard. He wasted the whole thing. He had rockets on his feet and he didn't use them. But no, a little bit of a great pickup kill from the Test. A little bit of a consolation, but still the kills are just so massively in favor of Fnatic. I mean, we dived past the tier 1 turret and even past the inhibitor turret, and we did not get a single thing except for that true shot barrage from the Wolves. So 14-4 now, ballooning their lead up to a 7,000 gold lead. And as you said, you know, Godbro, he was up top pushing that top lane, so they do have a tower to the Wolves' name, but because he was not at that team fight, they did drop it 4-0. You know, what kind of difference would a Malphite with a Sunfire and that unstoppable force would have made on a 2-tower dive?
It played right, he maybe could have turned it around, but it's a very iffy situation. I mean, it's not something you don't specifically want to, you know, avoid when it comes down to it. But in that situation, I honestly feel like the way their team has been running this game, that tower pickup up top is still a little bit safer. But obviously, a Malphite ult at just the right time under the right turret could have turned things around completely, especially when Diana was going down on top of Bjergsen. He could have taken it out.
Well, top lane, I mean, this is the time to shine. We do got that flash, but a great jump over the wall there from Bjergsen, coming here on top of Soaz. There is no tower for him to go to, but he is going to be able to throw down that ward safeguard to it. He has now built a little bit of distance between him, so they are going to trade out 1-for-1, but bottom lane does look like Fnatic was able to 3-man push down the tower with the help of Cyanide. Cyanide does have himself the Spirit of the Ancient Golems. He has upgraded his stone. Other than that, just the tier 2 boots. But still, I mean, I was looking for that Malphite Unstoppable Force top, and they were finally able to take down Xpeke. He is going to be sitting at a 6-4 scale. He has a Rabadon's at 18 minutes in. That's just so ridiculous. But yeah, Fnatic, I still think they got the better of that trade.
Yeah, I would definitely agree to that. And one of the things I actually wanted to point out, Cyanide picking up that Spirit of the Ancient Golem, that provides tenacity. So on top of you know, Olaf having the tenacity from that, he can actually pick up that Ninja Tabby and not have to worry about crowd control at all. So that extra reduced damage from physical sources, it's pretty huge.
Yeah, because they did remove all those extra tenacity items out of the game. To be honest, though, like, whoever used them, it was very few and far between that you really ever saw, like a Moonflare, for example. But either way, 19 minutes in, both of our AD carries are going to be picking up the Infinity Edges, and again, something to note, not a Triforce for the test. He did go straight into the Infinity Edge. He does have that Vamp Scepter and one Doran's Blade, and it basically the idea is here that 403 Reckless has an extra Doran's on top of that, and the Brawler's Gloves have been started. So are we going to see more of a Phantom Dancer, or are we going to see more of a Static Shiv, I wonder?
Ooh, that could actually go... I guess it could go either way. I would assume at this point a Phantom Dancer, with the way it's been going, but it could very well be a Shiv. One thing I wanted to point out is, that Ezreal was just a little bit too early. Fnatic picking up that dragon.
Yep.
Wolves almost getting that one. But the one thing I wanted to point out, with the Ezreal getting the Infinity Edge, it only means that he wants to commit to him being in a fight, rather than sticking to the pokes from a fight. So that's pretty much the only reason we didn't see a Trinity Force coming out of him. Even with Sona and Ezreal, the poke from a Zyra Caitlyn is... It's almost... They almost want you to try to poke them down. They almost want you to set you up. So having that Infinity Edge really allows him to just sort of get into a fight and commit to a fight, rather than trying to poke something down and trying to get a small advantage when it comes to it.
We finally got to see Soaz get that home guard going off. Nice rockets coming out of your feet there, but you know, again, 15-5, 20 minutes in. Looks like a little bit of a dragon attempt going to be going down here in the mid. Do we actually have any vision? We have no vision of this Baron for the Copenhagen Wolves, and they do see Diana mid, so Xpeke doing a really good job of just throwing them off their senses. Does not matter. This thing is dying really, really quickly. 1,000 hit points, 500, and it is down. A good smite coming out of Cyanide, and now the time is upon us to have the team fight of the century, 15-5, and it does look overwhelming for Fnatic with a Baron buff. I mean, they haven't lost a team fight to date.
No, they've been just absolutely fantastic. And it may not just be the reckless pickup. When it comes down to it, Fnatic's team just meshes. And it's not something we're seeing a lot of teams really do. Especially even European and North American teams. They're not meshing. They don't expect their team members to do exactly what they're going to do at the exact right times. And Fnatic is just all over it. They know exactly, like Lee Sin can expect, or Soaz can expect what Cyanide's going to do when he comes to top lane, and he just naturally feels it. And we can clearly see how their team works in this play.
Apparently I called that Baron attempt a Dragon attempt, so I do apologize to the fans out there. Top lane, though, I mean, Soaz just split pushing. We got Caitlyn down south as well. The three-man pressure from Fnatic in the mid, just keeping four of the Wolves at bay. And, you know, this kind of split pressure, we don't really seem to have too much of an answer from the Wolves about this. I mean, they're kind of just swarming at this mid, and this is not going to be good. If Reckless can just keep pushing right in and we engage in the mid, I mean, he might be able to just win the game uncontested.
Yeah, at this point, Wolves needs all 5 of their members for a team fight, especially with the Baron buff, but even without it, they absolutely need all 5 members. Fnatic is taking advantage of this. They know that if Reckless keeps pushing bot, if the pressure is on top, and Soaz right now popping in right into the middle of the team, gets taken down by the Sona, Expeke right behind it as well. A nice crescendo going down on top of him. Bjergsen and Zvergen actually making it out. Israel flashing over, or popping over to that wall. Expeke still really low. That team fight actually went in Wolves' favor almost. It looked like Soaz was just a little bit too eager to get into that fight. But Fnatic was able to take down that bottom lane turret. All of them are low as well, so they almost get down that inhibitor. But that inhibitor is a very big threat as it stands to it. But a nice pickup there by N-Rated.
Yeah, the support Zyra.
Yeah, you really do not build her like a support. It's almost like another AP carry.
Oh my goodness, we're going right here on top of Reckless, not going to get it. In fact, turning it around on top of Elise, not looking so healthy, but Cyanide there as well. Expeke looking for that Crescent Slash. In fact, just jumps right into Svenskeren. It looks like they're going to be trying to go for him. The Unstoppable Force going out for that counter initiation, but it will be Reckless and that Piltover picking up that kill. And now Godbro running for his life, has to get out with that flash. And it does look like that will be enough, but still damage is done. Tower is down. Inhibitor also dropping. Soaz is going to be pushing out that top lane, but still doesn't matter. They didn't have Lee Sin. They were still able to get, what, 2 kills at Tower and an inhibitor? Yeah, Fnatic is just on a roll this game.
Yeah, no kidding. I mean, even outside of the game, just the way things have been going, and ooh, that Ezreal ult almost again. The Tess, I gotta give him something, because his Ezreal ults they're so close, and they're almost blind when it comes down to it too. So I really see a lot of potential coming out. I mean, when it comes down to it, Wolves is a very strong team. They do have a lot of potential, but Fnatic is just they're on a ball when it comes to it. They're all 5 of them are just balancing on this little sort of like kickball. They're all 5 of them on top of it and in perfect synchronization. So it's really hard to beat 5 people that can balance on a single ball.
Yeah, a little bit. A little bit. But you do got that Zeal now coming. Does look like it will be a Phantom Dancer for Reckless, and he picks up that red. He's sitting at 5-0-4, so 9 of 17 kills. He has been there, and unfortunately, you know, for the Wolves, 0-5-2 on Armando, and just 4s across the death counter on everyone. The only person that actually hasn't really died, we got 3 people without deaths. Olaf, Caitlyn, as well as Malphite. I gotta give props to Malphite for that.
Godbro's top lane is very respectable. I mean, even along the lines of Soaz, he's just his basic feel of the way top lane works is it just works so well for him. It's just so natural for him.
You can see just so much Fnatic poke going into this mid lane, just trying to get them into a state where they're all going to fall over because this inhibitor is going to be on the line. But the longer we keep the Wolves here mid, that just means, you know, better and better things for this right-hand side, because that inhibitor side is going to be pushing. So we are going to have to force someone to peel, and it will be Ezreal. So now that he has been noticed as going over there. It does not matter. It's going to be that top lane. So as just, again, split pushing this. So Wolves really don't seem to have a defense against this. They can't decide what lane to go defend. And now Soa is just able to land some free damage on the top tower on top of things.
Yeah, usually what will happen is, and especially on the last patches during the season 2 patches, what will happen is just a stalemate will happen. Both teams don't really want to specifically fight. Neither really has a very, very clear advantage when it comes to a team fight. And especially right now, I mean, Wolves extremely far behind, they can still fight as a team and do really well. I mean, they have the ability between Elise's just straight up damage, Ezreal's constant use, and then the unstoppable force right on top of Fnatic. Godbro gets taken down. A nice Sona ult, kind of keeping the flow of the fight, but the test just getting focused out on, and Fnatic clearly coming out on top of that one.
That's a surrender vote, yeah, 5-0. Even with that unstoppable force initiation, could not take anyone. Losing 3 team members, and that means that Fnatic is going to take the game in the round-robin series here of the Thor Open League of Legends stream. Very respectable win, 20-6. The DreamHack 2012 champions looking in strong form for the first game of the morning.
Yeah, without a doubt, Fnatic is just, I can't say it enough. They're super strong, just as a team and in general. They've been doing absolutely everything right. They've been responding to situations exactly correct. They've been picking exactly what they need to pick, and they've been doing everything that they absolutely need to do.
There's the scoreboard for you guys. Just take a quick gander at that. We are going to talk to the admins, figure out what the next game is going to be, because now we are running a little bit late. I'm very curious to see if we will keep to the schedule. But guys, you are watching the Thor Open League of Legends stream, first annual. If things go well, of course, we will be more tournaments from the Thor. $87,000 across all the games being played today. StarCraft 2, CSGO. I think we even had some fighters on top of that. League of Legends, Dota. I mean, there's a lot of esports being played right now in Stockholm. So we will be right back with updates on the next game.